Hi guys and welcome to a new video. Leah Thomas became the first openly transgender athlete to win a national championship after winning the women's 500-yard freestyle. When Leah Thomas was competing in the men's team, they were ranked 554th in 200 freestyle. Now, when competing in the women's event, she is 5th in the 200 freestyle, 1st in the 500 freestyle, and 8th in the 1600 freestyle. Dylan Mulvaney is an American actor who interviewed the US President Joe Biden at the White House and has 10 million followers on TikTok, where she posts her video series Days of Girlhood. And she now has a live stream variety show at the Rainbow Room in Midtown Manhattan titled Dylan Mulvaney's Day 365 Live. That is live streaming a year of her experiences and day-to-day life as a girl. Elsa Breeson, another trans woman who transitioned while awaiting trial for rapes, and this sex offender was kept in an all-women's prison before being moved to a men's facility amid a public outcry. That is, a person who raped 2 women because they could was kept in an all-women's prison while awaiting trial because they had become trans. Matt Walsh came up with a documentary called What is a Woman, where he challenged a lot of academicians and trans rights activists and people from all spectrum to answer the very simple question of what is a woman. And then even Jeffree Star came out to say that the trans movement has gone weird and absurd and crazy in these times. I follow all of these developments happening in the West. Why? Well, only because I went to college. I studied in TIS, Tata Institute of Social Science, where we were introduced and taught all of this under gender studies. And I have been really waiting to make a separate video on the gender ideology that is taught in all universities across the globe at the moment. And when I went to college, there was feminism that was talking about women's rights and women empowerment, and then there was the gender studies that were talking about how the line between men and women is not that clear after all. And when I was studying, the LGBTQ plus were the only categories existing at that time, but now it has, I don't know how many categories are there right now. At that time, it felt quite insignificant and I have no idea why we were even taught that. But then once I was out of college and I started to see the reflection of everything that we were learning and a reflection of all the protests that were happening in our college in the West. By the way, I thought that the universities in West and especially in the US gave people good education, but apparently I was wrong, or better education than in India, but it just keeps getting worse and worse in the West, especially in America. There was a case in Kerala where 2 transgender people had a baby where the man became pregnant. It was quite surprising for everyone to see this, and nobody, especially the traditional people of the earlier generations, just could not wrap their heads around it, what was happening, because a person who clearly looks like a man is pregnant and a person who clearly looks like a woman is assuming the man's role. And me, who was educated in the gender ideology and who had seen it happen in practice, came to the rescue and explained what was happening to all of them. So this person who was born a female did breast reduction surgery or breast removal surgery and took hormonal therapy to look more like a man. But because that person's primary sex organs and the primary sexual functions were still intact, they were able to have a child. This new he got pregnant, and this other person who was born a male went through breast enlargement surgery, took some hormonal therapy, and now the new she is beside the new he. Now, my parents were like, most important problem with the gender ideology is that if I was in the West explaining the whole process like I just did just before, I would be cancelled and I wouldn't be allowed to express my views anymore. Please don't cancel me, by the way. But why would I be cancelled in the first place? What did I say that was so wrong? Well, a lot of people came together and decided that gender is fluid and that gender is a spectrum, which means that there is no women or men in the strict traditional sense anymore, even though people are constantly trying to attain that traditional role of a man or a woman through medical interventions. And the normal people who like whatever is inside their clothes and they identify with them are not normal anymore, but they are cis. And the other people who don't like or identify with the body that they were born with are now trans. And everyone has to agree that this is the objective reality of humans now. You won't, then you are bigoted, transphobic, fascist, and you're pushing them deeper into the depths of trauma that they have been suffering since childhood, and you are encouraging their suicidality, and you might even be directly responsible for their deaths. How dare you? So feminists stand for the rights of women and the empowerment of women. Right after they decide or they come to an agreement on what a woman is. And women, an identity that was based on the sex and the gender is getting erased. These biological men now experience and dictate what it means to be a woman. And they use these stereotypes and traditional gender roles to oppress, attack, and even sexually abuse women and children in the name of the transgender movement. They will literally insult you on mass media or social media by denigrating menstruation, by saying that they understand and experience menstruation just because they feel like a woman now. They will address you by your body parts, and they will further denigrate your body parts by using terms like chest feeding instead of breastfeeding, and women have to endure it. Otherwise, you're rekindling the trauma that transgenders felt as a child, and you're driving them to commit suicide. You will see Leah Thomas feeling like a woman and experiencing womanhood all of a sudden, and then competing with women in sports because they feel like a woman, damn it. But you won't see a female trying so hard to compete in men's teams or be part of men's events and calling for being in men's bathrooms. You don't see women protesting to be in men's prisons. They know that if they do that, their mental, physical, and even their survival would be in jeopardy very fast. So there is no rush, no hurry to be in any of the men's pools, men's bathroom, or men's prison. But women are more agreeable, they are more empathetic, and they will listen to you. So you just take over everything that they ever had and anything that they fought for centuries. You will appropriate their entire gender identity and wear it on your skeleton like it's some kind of custom made designer wear. At the same time, women still have to be the physically weaker sex, and they still have to be extremely careful not to get attacked. They still have to go through periods. They still have to get pregnant and deliver a baby. They still have to handle misogyny and lack of freedom that comes with them and be objectified in the world. The transgender movement just enabled men to take on a new role to oppress, objectify, insult and put down women. That is, men who look more like them. It's quite difficult to imagine being a woman in the West right now. As the old saying, if the France sneezes, the Europe gets a cold. It's now like if the West sneezes, the entire world gets a cold. From the liberal universities across the free West, this ideology has took over the campuses, then the media, the society, and now it has spread to the school systems. And it's threatening to destroy the very fabric of the Western society, which was based on family, which had the gender roles of a man and a woman, that is a mother and a father, and that could destroy the fabric of the society and the culture in the West. But like I said before, there is already a transgender man getting pregnant in Kerala. This ideology is everywhere across the world because they are present in the universities. We literally cut marks from students across universities across the world if you say that a biological male is a man and a biological female is a woman, or that only women can get pregnant. This is being taught across educational institutions, and the question is why. I had previously made a video on antinatalism, and imagine antinatalism being taught in university. Should you give birth? Yes. Bam. You have failed sociology and philosophy, because according to antinatalism, you are not supposed to have children. Why are we teaching gender ideology to students across campuses? What logical, moral or sociological ground does it have to be taught to children and to college graduates? We know that gender dysphoria exists. We know that transgenderism or being transgender is a real thing. We also know that transgenders have human rights. I agree with all of that, and they should have that. But when did we realize as a species and as a society that men are not men, or that women are not women? If we don't have universal consensus or any empirical data to support an idea or any logical backing, why are we teaching that to our younger generations? How is that good education? Because the fundamental premise of our education is to develop logical reasoning. Let me know in the comments below what you think about the transgender movement and the things that's happening across the world regarding that. Don't forget to hit the like button, and if you disagree also, please tell me in the comments. And subscribe to this channel for more content like this. My greatest dream was to become an author and share awesome stories with you guys. I've published my first book, a novel named Life in a Ziploc Bag. It's the story of 4 kids living in a city with their unique life experiences. They are connected by the chaos in their lives, which are fueled by drugs, abuse and isolation. I don't want to give it all away right here. You can check it out on Amazon or Flipkart. It's also available for direct buying. All these links are given in the description. If you are interested, please go and check it out and grab your copy right now. Thank you.